4, 3, 2, 1.
Studio Classroom is
Studio Classroom. Studio Classroom.
Please stand by.
Studio Classroom is on the air.
Hello everyone, welcome to Studio Classroom on the air. This is the place to come when you want to have some fun. My name is Rebecca, and I know that your English will improve today. Do you remember the world-famous crocodile hunter? Unfortunately, he did die in an encounter with a stingray several years ago. However, Steve Irwin's daughter is walking in her father's footsteps. Today, we're going to learn about this natural talent in a lesson called Bindi Irwin, a natural talent. And here's a question for you all to think about. When did Bindi start hosting her first show? When did Bindi start hosting her first show? Well, friends, I know that you have your magazines. Make sure they are open to today's lesson. And it's time for us to begin. So let's go. Bindi Irwin, a natural talent. She loves nature, and people love her. Some children of well-known people never emerge from their parents' shadow. Bindi Irwin, daughter of world-famous crocodile hunter Steve Irwin, doesn't have that problem. Although she was gifted with her father's name and legacy, this talented young woman has earned her own place in the spotlight. Born in Queensland, Australia in 1998, Bindi began appearing on TV with her father at the age of 2. By 2006, she was hosting a TV wildlife show for kids, Bindi the Jungle Girl.
Hello everyone, welcome to Language Lab. I'm Jack. 今天要看的第一个字是 gift。相信各位朋友知道 gift 是礼物，例如 I love receiving gifts. Thank you very much. 我很喜欢收到礼物，谢谢你。不过在今天的文章里 ，gift 是一个动词，意思是天生就拥有的意思。例如 ，Mary was gifted with blonde curls, and her sister was envious. Mary 天生就有金色卷发，而她妹妹非常羡慕她。或是 You need to be patient when you're coaching kids. Not everyone is gifted with athletic abilities. 当小朋友的运动教练需要有耐心，不是每一位小朋友天生就是运动员。To gift 也可以指赠送，例如 Mr. Anderson is gifting each of his grandkids a smartphone. Anderson 先生赠送给他每个孙子一只智慧型手机。我们下一个字是 spotlight。spotlight 是指聚光灯，例如 At the beginning of the play, there was nothing on the stage except for one actor under a spotlight. 戏剧一开始，舞台上什么都没有，除了一位站在聚光灯下的演员。不过文章里 in the spotlight 的意思是备受瞩目。譬如说 Although the actress is very popular, she doesn't enjoy being in the spotlight. 虽然这位女明星非常受欢迎，但是她很不喜欢备受瞩目。或是 The scandal quickly came in the spotlight. 那件丑闻很快就成为众所瞩目的焦点。我们也可以把 spotlight 当作动词来指用聚光灯直接照亮。例如 The director wants to spotlight the door. 导演要聚光灯直接照亮大门。To spotlight 也有把焦点放在某人事物上的意思。例如 There is no reason to spotlight local gossip. 没必要把焦点放在当地的八卦上面。
Thank you very much, Jack.
Of course, friends, you know Jack's English is not the only thing that's good. He's also a very gifted musician. There's that word again. My name is Gabe.
All right, friends, let's get right into our lesson about Bindi Irwin and how she's a natural talent. She loves nature and people love her. If you're not familiar with Bindi Irwin, well, by the end of today's lesson, you definitely will know her pretty well.
That's right. And I looked at that title and I thought, that's interesting. I wonder if our author is kind of having fun with the word natural. Because Bindi and her father passed away, but he was known for loving nature and being around animals, and so is she. So she is a person who loves nature. That's part of the meaning of the word natural. But if someone is a natural talent, that means they're talented in ways that come naturally to them. It's like they didn't have to work too hard at it. So there's kind of a play on words there.
We read some children of well-known people never emerge from their parents' shadow. That means that they're always walking in their parents' shadow. They never really have an opportunity to make a name for themselves.
Well, those are very interesting words and phrases that you used, Rebecca. And of course, when you're walking in someone's shadow, the idea is you're not right behind them in their shadow. If the sun is in front of them and you're behind them, you're in their shadow, right? But the idea here is that you don't have your own place to shine. If you're in someone else's shadow, it's like you do whatever they do. They're famous and you don't do anything that stands out. You're not unique in any way if you're just following in someone else's shadow.
We read Bindi Irwin, daughter of world-famous crocodile hunter Steve Irwin, doesn't have that problem. Although she was gifted with her father's name and legacy, this talented young woman has earned her own place in the spotlight. Now, there's several things that we want to take a look at in this sentence, starting with legacy. A legacy is something that is part of your history or that remains from an earlier time, something that's had an impact.
That's right, and of course it makes me think of the phrase to leave a legacy. When someone passes away, if they were well-loved and appreciated and they contributed a lot to society, perhaps they became famous or influential for some great reason, they have left a legacy. What kind of legacy? Well, you can look at the details of their life and the details of the way that they contributed to society, and that is the kind of legacy they left behind.
Well, there's something else that we would like to take a look at in this sentence, and that is the phrase to earn one's place somewhere. This just means that someone has worked really hard and they deserve what they get. Something isn't just handed to them freely.
That's right. So Bindi Irwin has earned her place in the spotlight. Earlier I said she's a natural talent, and I believe there are some talents that come naturally to her. But I also agree with this sentence. She has worked hard to earn this place in an influential position. That's what the spotlight means. This also reminds me of a phrase to earn one's keep. It's a little bit different. That means someone is worth the time and the money that is spent on them. Maybe you might have to earn your keep if people are willing to house you for free, and maybe you can do the dishes or do some chores to earn your keep. But Bindi Irwin has earned her own place in the spotlight.
That's right. We read, born in Queensland, Australia in 1998. Bindi began appearing on TV with her father at the age of 2. So she was only 2 years old when she started appearing on show with her father.
A lot of people, well, I don't know about a lot of people. I know that this is something that not a lot of famous people are willing to do, is to have their young kids also on TV with them, because getting young children famous too early could have a negative impact. But we read on here, by 2006, she was hosting a TV wildlife show for kids, Bindi the Jungle Girl.
So she was pretty young when she started hosting this show. So it seems like she was following in her father's footsteps from a very young age.
Well, to follow in someone's footsteps or be in someone's shadow, this all has the idea of inherited traits. Let's learn what some of our teachers have to say about inherited traits right now.
I have inherited various traits from my parents. Some traits are good, some other traits are not so good. One of the good traits I got from them was a sense of humor, finding the joy and the humor in situations. So sometimes life can be a little hard and people can be difficult to work with. But with a good sense of humor, you can make that time a little easier. You can make friendships in that time, or you can lessen the stress when you have a good sense of humor. So that is something that I have gotten from my parents, and I'm glad that I can keep using that and pass it on to hopefully my own kids.
One trait I have inherited from my dad is the ability to work hard. We have a phrase in English that goes, work smarter, not harder. But my dad told me when I was young, that's not true. We should work hard, work smart, and then good things will happen. He taught me when I was small that if I want something in life, I need to work hard for it. I'm so glad that he taught me that and that I have inherited that desire to work hard from him. It has been an invaluable life lesson for me. So remember, work hard, work smart, and good things will happen.
I think I have inherited certain traits from my parents. For example, my father is very patient and calm under pressure. And I remember as a child, he would never raise his voice in anger. I think I'm also very calm under pressure and patient, and so I've inherited that from him. My mother is a very detail-oriented person, and she remembers lots of details from past events. And I think that I have also inherited that from her, the ability to pay attention to small matters and to remember things from the past.
Studio Classroom is on the air.
Hello friends, welcome back to Studio Classroom, where we are learning about Bindi Irwin, daughter of Steve Irwin. Well friends, we have more to learn about this natural talent, so let's get back to our lesson.
Bindi Irwin, a natural talent. In September of that year, her father died in an encounter with a stingray. At his funeral, Bindi gave a speech she wrote herself. The 5,000 attendees gave her a standing ovation. Hundreds of millions of TV viewers, many seeing her for the first time, fell in love. Overcoming her loss, Bindi soon began pressing ahead in her father's footsteps. In 2007, she hosted a TV show about him called My Daddy the Crocodile Hunter. This was followed by appearances on popular American talk shows. The same year, she was named a tourism ambassador for Australia.
"接下来我们来看 standing ovation。各位知道 standing 就是站着的意思，那么 ovation 呢 ？ovation 这个名词的意思是热烈鼓掌。例如 The hospital workers received quite the ovation for all their hard work. 人们为医院人员的辛劳热烈鼓掌。ovation 也可以指热烈的欢迎，譬如说 The visitors were surprised to receive such a warm ovation from the villagers. 村民热烈的欢迎让客人感到惊讶。那么 standing ovation 是什么意思呢？可以直接翻译，也就是起立鼓掌。我们来看例句。When the director won the Best Director of the Year award, the audience gave him a standing ovation. 当那位导演赢得年度最佳导演奖时，观众起立为他热烈鼓掌。或是 The people gave the brave firefighter a standing ovation. 民众为那位英勇的消防队员起立鼓掌。最后我们来看动词 overcome， 在文章里 to overcome 的意思是克服或是战胜。我们来看例句。Because Jacob was determined to reach his goal, he overcame every obstacle along the way. 由于 Jacob 下定决心要达到目标，他克服了过程中的每一个障碍。或是 Paul was able to overcome the challenges because he had support from his friends and family. Paul 因为有亲朋好友的支持，能够克服所有的挑战。Overcome 也有被极度的影响到或是承受不了的意思。例如 Allie was overcome with grief and could not go to work. Allie 因为悲痛到不行而无法去上班。或是 Thomas didn't say anything because he was overcome by fear. Thomas 一句话都没说，因为他完全被吓坏了。Okay, let's get back to our teachers.
Bravo, Jack. We're giving you a standing ovation.
Great job. Well, let's get right into our lesson. We read in September of that year, the year 2006, her father died in an encounter with a stingray. Now, before we continue, we would like to take a look at this phrase, encounter with. This is just an experience or a situation usually unpleasant and unexpected. That is the way it's used in our lesson.
Right, of course it can be a positive situation too. There are cultural encounters. That's used as a noun as well. When you meet somebody of a different culture or have an interesting experience in another country, that's a cultural encounter, and that's a positive thing. We encountered 2 huge dogs in the park. So this word can be used as a verb as well. You know what I would call Steve Irwin's experience here when he passed away? That's also called a freak accident. Often freak accidents result in death or something terrible, and it's an accident that makes you think, wow, that was really strange and unusual the way it happened.
Continuing on, we read, at his funeral, Bindi gave a speech she wrote herself. The 5,000 attendees gave her a standing ovation.
So hundreds of millions of TV viewers, many seeing her for the first time, fell in love. So you can use the phrase fall in love when talking about romance between 2 people. But of course, lots of people fell in love with Bindi.
Meaning that everyone really liked Bindi a lot. Continuing on, overcoming her loss, Bindi soon began pressing ahead in her father's footsteps. Now, if you press ahead, this just means that you continue doing something in a determined way, even if it's difficult.
And that is the usage tip for this lesson. See how it's used in your magazine. But what about that phrase, to follow in someone's footsteps?
This just means that you do something that someone else has already done.
Okay, so Bindi is kind of following in her father's footsteps. In 2007, she hosted a TV show about him called My Daddy, the Crocodile Hunter.
We read this was followed by appearances on popular American talk shows.
Okay, so the same year she was named a tourism ambassador for Australia. She had already accomplished quite a lot at a very young age. I would say she is a chip off the old block. Let's find out what that means in
the Info Cloud.
Welcome, friends. It's great to have you with us on InfoCloud today. Rex, I have a question for you. Would you say you are like your parents in any way?
Great question. Well, I commonly get told that I look a lot like my dad. Some people have said that I'm just a chip off the old block.
Oh, that means you look just like him. A chip off the old block is a phrase we say to mean that the son or daughter seems like they were made from the same material as their parent.
In most cases, the old block is the father. This phrase can be used to describe the resemblance with either looks or personality.
Speaking of fathers, I heard that Rex's son recently got a great grade for a project in school. He must be really smart.
That's right. He's a chip off the old block. Hey, I've heard another phrase to describe looking or acting like your parents too. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Oh, that's a good one. Apples come from apple trees, and children come from their parents. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree means that you look or are acting just like one of your parents.
当我们看到一个人在某方面跟他的父母很像，我们会说，哦，那是遗传。美国人有一句经典谚语 ，a chip off the old block， 用来形容一个人的外形和个性很像自己的父亲。chip 是碎片 ，old block 是老旧的木块。A chip off the old block 就是从旧的木块上掉下来的碎片，它的材料和本质都是跟木块一样。通常 a chip off the old block 是形容一个人很像他的父亲，因为老旧的木块用来比喻父亲，好像比母亲还要适合。另外一个几乎是一模一样的谚语，就是 The apple doesn't fall far from the tree。苹果掉下来不会离树太远，因为那棵树就是生产那颗苹果的地方。这句谚语可以用来同时形容一个人很像自己的父亲或是母亲。这就是今天的 Info Cloud， 我们下次云端见。
Next. Hello, doctor. Hello, and how may I help you? Doctor, I have a problem that I want to overcome. Okay, well, what's the problem? I have a terrible fear of spiders. I want to overcome that fear. Spiders? Oh, well, spiders can be scary. I know, and when I see a spider, I scream, I shake. I can't move.
That sounds very serious.
It is. So, doctor, can you help me? How can I overcome this fear of spiders?
Well, if you want to overcome something, you have to face it. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to face a spider?
Oh, I don't know.
It's the only way to overcome your fear.
Well, okay, I'll do it. I'll overcome my fear and face a spider.
Okay, well, let me bring out the spider.
Hurry up! What's taking so long?
Well, the spider doesn't want to come out. It's afraid of people.
What?
Come on, spider. Come on, you can do it. You can overcome your fear. You can do it. Hey, careful.
Now that was a fun skit. Now you know how to use that word overcome. So practice using it today. Well, friends, thank you very much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you next time right here on Studio Classroom.
A good friend lasts a lifetime. I am so proud to have you in my life. A good friend lasts a lifetime.